Alrighty, hello everyone and welcome back. We're here again with another video. Today's a little bit different though. I wanted to address the series between Golden Guardians and BDS in the first ever Worlds qualifying series this year. Here's your quick spoiler warning, but it's already been 3 days since the game, so I'd imagine that you would already know who was advanced in the tournament by now. So that's your spoiler warning. We're getting into it now. So BDS embarrassed Golden Guardians in the series 3-0, and while everyone attributed this to many factors, including the kind of lack of River and Gory synergy in this match for Golden Guardians, I wanted to focus specifically on their drafts for this. So we're going to look at two drafts, one on the blue side in Game 1, which is the background right now, and one on red side in Game 3, which I'll flip to about halfway through. In Game 1, the draft that they chose was entirely unsynergistic and generally kind of weird, considering how they chose, or considering how they performed last on stage during LCS playoffs. Here they first picked Taliyah, which is really, really weird and kind of just like a strange first pick in my opinion, because generally there's like 3 factors you look for when you're drafting for first picks on blue side: versatility, counterability, and power level. Generally the champion that you pick first should be able to go in more than one role, which Taliyah does fit, shouldn't be easily counterable, and should be a very strong pick in the meta. In this case, Taliyah is literally only versatile. She can be very easily countered as there are matchups in the jungle. I actually have this shown up here. Let's pull this in real quick. So this is the jungle on 13.19, which is what World has been playing on. Karthus, which is a good pro play, has a really high win rate against her. Kha'Zix, which is seen sometimes, and even Amumu and Maokai and Ivern, which are all pretty common picks, have positive win rates, and Taliyah for one reason or another. Obviously, counter picks aren't everything, but the fact that she can be heavily countered like that, like a 3% win rate, is pretty significant, is just pretty dead on first picks. It's how it really should be. And the same for mid lane, if they have the flex potential. I mean, obviously there's not a lot of Kassadin, but Victor, even a Fizz or Zoe could come in, especially Twisted Fate 2, that have good win rates, or Tristana mid as the highest lane counter, which would be really good against the Taliyah first pick in either role, depending on when they figure out which role it would be. But anyways, let me see where I was. Oh yeah, on top of that, so, I mean, Taliyah is pretty powerful in the meta right now, but she is only really situationally powerful against people with dashes that, like, are engage. Besides that, she's really just kind of like a mid-tier pick champ, honestly. And that's coming from someone who's a Mastery 7 Taliyah. I wish she was more powerful, honestly. But in general, even on top of all of that, her not being a great first pick, they immediately kill the flex potential in the second draft with the B3 Yone, which makes it obvious that it's a Taliyah jungle. They're not going to send her support or something. And that gives BDS an easy jungle counter pick in either the Karthus that we saw or the Maokai, which is what they ended up opting into. All this to say, their pick priority is all screwed up when it comes to picking on blue side. And even beyond that, the full team comp, which we'll see in a second, I'm actually skip forward if I can so we can see it. So the full team comp is just, like, has some wild, oblivious, synergistic errors. Just looking at the comp in general, there's no clear, consistent strategy, or a game plan or win condition beyond just kind of getting ahead, which is not a consistent, like, win condition against the best players in the world. Kai'Sa's obviously, like, the main carry. Yone and Taliyah do their own thing. But she is going to require a lot of good peel from the kite back and disengage of Sivir and Rakan after she hops in with R, but also from the diving Maokai and Renekton. We're going to be able to hard CC her just by point and click. And she has an Amumu support. Amumu with her? There are so many good enchanters. There's like even a Lulu would have been better, I think. And she's not even very strong in the meta right now. Amumu is basically just going to be able to sit there and click R and then stun them for a couple seconds, and then only be able to stun one person after that if he's lucky, like if he hits the right person with his Q. The mid and jungle have no hard engage and not really any peel besides Taliyah rocks, and are useless from behind, so the one win condition, getting ahead, has been taken out the window because of the enemy's hard engage and dive. The only way they win this is if BDS basically completely trolls the early game, which is unlikely considering the champs they have too, but also just unlikely because they're, you know, one of the best teams in the world. So it's just like not a healthy win condition at all. Anyways, I'm going to pause this and hop over to the Game 3 draft so we can see kind of the issues with this one as well. So this is where Golden Guardians is on red side. BDS first picks Sorry, I actually don't remember. I'm going to let this play through. Oh yeah, they ended up first picking the Rakan, which I think is a good choice. He is pretty hard counterable, and he has no versatility, but he's really powerful. And Labrov pretty much showed in the first two games how good he was at Rakan. So I think that it's a fine pick in general. But focusing back on Golden Guardians, their draft was marginally better this game, but still with some glaring issues. First and foremost, they first pick Xayah here, which is just crazy to me, because she is actually none of the three things we talked about earlier. She's not versatile. She doesn't really have any playstyle. She doesn't really have any roles she can play in. Like, sometimes she goes mid, but like never in pro play. She's very, very counterable against any type of poke. Like, we'll see them abuse that here pretty quickly. But like in a Kai'Sa, like a W poke Kai'Sa, Ezreal, Ziggs, even like Zoe, even Lux would like all, yeah, there's the Ezreal that they use for the counterpick. Those would all just kind of destroy her because she doesn't really have any inherent sustain and she can't really afford to build lifesteal until later in the match. So anyways, it just kind of makes no sense overall. But even after that, they seem to get a better sense of the team composition with R2 and R3 here, giving them Jax and Azir. Jax gives good side lane pressure, will allow them to have kind of a better win condition through Licorice's power. As long as River is able to play topside and get Licorice a lead, he'll be able to pressure that in the side lanes really well. And Azir has amazing peel with his ultimate, and he has really good kite back with his mobility, so he'd work really well with the anti-dive of against Rakan and whoever else they might pick, along with Xayah. So there's at least some synergy and identity there. Now we're in the bans. I'm going to skip forward a little bit because I want to talk about mostly their next picks. Let's see. So in R4, they end up picking Leona, which just has me baffled on all belief. Like, Leona is the complete opposite of everything they have. Like, she's not good at like picking in side lanes, really. I mean, like, she can obviously do it, but she's not the most mobile in general. And she's not really good at like kiting back or disengaging. She doesn't have really good like peel. She's like strictly a dive champ, which is why it's super crazy. Like, that's her only mode, is engage and dive. And the Ivern pick is actually really good here. But even then, there's no synergy with like all five of them together. Like, Jax wants to side lane, Ivern wants to pick, Leona and Azir want a team fight, and it's just like, I mean, Xayah's kind of a team fighter there too. She kind of does everything. She's almost versatile in that way. But I think a much better support pick would have been anything with strong peel, like an Alistar or a Kench even, to like save the carry. I think would have been really good. Or even a Taric, kind of core JJ special. But if who he's confident in, I think it would be a really good pick to help with the disengage, even some catch potential with the Ivern. Like, if the Ivern hops on top of someone, Taric's energy would have been really good there. There's just so many better picks that pros kind of just refuse to recognize during the game. All this to say, I think that these drafts were really all over the place. Like, over this series, and if you're wondering, Game 2 wasn't really any better. Drafting is like a fundamental and crucial skill when it comes to playing in competitive league, and until they to craft comps correctly and make use of counter matchups and unused champions, the games will just still be a boring coin flip of who wins early game based off skirmishes and jungle pressure. And I think that's really interesting is that we can see in their compositions, the BDS makes use of Garen, like in, I think it was 2 out of 3 games. Yeah, Renekton was first, but Garen was game 2 and 3, which is like obviously a curveball, and the Garen ended up doing really, really good against them. And people meme on Garen for being an easy champion, but this is playing against some of the best players in the entire game, and they're basically destroying as this like easy noob champ, which is kind of crazy. They just seem to forget that there's so many good champions in this match or in this game that can just work really well conditionally. Like, Garen is a good pick here into the Jax because of the silence and because of extra mobility. Like, he's probably not going to get stunned. He's not super auto attack based, and a lot of these champions will just get destroyed by execute because Azir really likes to be on low health, be able to kind of bait and kite. Leona has damage reduction that'll be negated by true damage, or armor magic resistance increase that'll be negated by true damage, and just everyone else. Like, Garen's a great pick into this, and I'm really glad that BDS BDS was able to recognize that. But anyways, if you enjoyed this new style of kind of draft analysis, please make sure to let me know what you think in the comments, and also like and subscribe if you want to see more of this. I like to do more videos about the drafts of most of the world's games moving forward, anything that I'm probably personally interested in, or if I see any like crazy drafts that are like crazy good or crazy bad, I might do a video. So please let me know if that's something you would enjoy. Thank you, and have a fantastic rest of your day.